Alright guys, so since Valentine's Day is coming up, I thought it would be a good idea to show you guys a trick that you could potentially perform to people on Valentine's Day. But if you don't have that opportunity, that's totally fine, because this card trick that I'll show you is totally accessible for any day of the year. Like, it doesn't have to be on Valentine's Day. You can perform this whenever you want. But yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy this, and let's get right into the performance. So for this trick, I would actually need the help of 2 spectators, and I would like these 2 spectators to be in some sort of relationship, either husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend would be very, very helpful, because it will just help the connection. I just need the connection to be stronger for this trick specifically, and you'll see why. So I'm gonna turn to one spectator and I'm gonna tell them, look, I have the deck here, I'm gonna give it a quick shuffle. All I want you to do is just pick out any card, but don't let the other spectator see, only keep it to yourself. So they can go ahead and take out any card in the deck. Let's say this one over here. So I'll go ahead, show you guys the card. Please remember it best that you can, but the other spectator would not be able to see this card. And I tell them to just go ahead, you can place it back anywhere you like in the center of the pack. That's perfectly fine, we'll square it up. And we'll give it a quick shuffle. So I turn to the other spectator and say, so you can agree you didn't see the card at all, right? You have no idea what it is or what card it could be. Okay, great. So what I'm gonna try to do with you now is I'm going to try to spread the cards out in a fan like this. And I am going to have you just take out any card that just calls out to you, one that you think might be their card, okay? So I'll spread out the cards just like this, and just any card that just specifically calls out to you in any way. So I'd show the spectators the card over here. The other spectator that selected the card, they would not be looking, so they wouldn't be able to see this. So I tell the spectator, just use your intuition, choose one that just calls out to you. And let's say they're gonna select this one, and they can really choose any one they want, but just one that specifically calls out to them. So, okay, that's perfect. So remember, I shuffled the cards, you selected any card, and then we put it back in the middle. We shuffled the cards again, we did everything, and then I spread out the cards for you, and you were able to choose any card that called out to you. But out of all of these cards, somehow you were able to find the exact card that the other spectator had chosen, and that proves that you guys have a really, really great connection between the two of you, and that's amazing. So yeah, that is the trick, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you want to learn how to do it, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. All right, guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this trick. This is definitely one of my favorite tricks to perform when I have 2 spectators helping me out, and you'll see why I love it so much. It's just such a fun principle in play here, and it's really, really clever how it works. So without further ado, let's get right into how this works. So what's happening in the deck is you actually have a setup beforehand, but it's very simple. All you want to do is separate all the black cards and all the red cards from each other. And this deck that I'm using is not even a full deck of cards. I'm missing a lot of cards. So this proves that you can do it with like literally any deck. You just need to set up this beforehand. Once you're in this position, that's it. You're ready to go. So how to begin, you actually want to shuffle the cards, but you don't want to really shuffle them. You're going to be shuffling them in a specific way, and you're not actually going to be disturbing the red and black separation. So all you're going to be doing is basically switching the halves around. You're going to be using an overhand shuffle. So you're going to peel off about a quarter or so of the deck, and then you're just going to start peeling off one card at a time on top, just like this, one card at a time, until you know that you've passed the halfway point. So right about here, I know that this is definitely less than half the deck. So once I have less than half the deck remaining, I can just normally shuffle the cards on top, and I can just kind of throw them randomly on top. So if I do that, then I actually won't disturb the red-black separation. So as you can see here, the only thing that's changed is the red is now on top and the black is now on the bottom. So you can do that as many times as you want. I usually just do it once because that's enough for the spectator to believe that the cards are being shuffled. Once you do this, you're just gonna turn to one spectator and have them select a card. The only thing you wanna do is have them select a card from the top half of the deck. So don't spread out too many cards, just spread out about 15 or so, just like this, and this will just make sure that they choose one of these red cards over here. And it can be a black card as well. It doesn't matter which half is on top or the bottom, as long as they just pick one from the top half. So let's say they pick this one over here. In this case, we have the 7 of diamonds. And once they're looking at the card, what you're gonna do is you're gonna secretly take your thumb and just push off a lot more cards like this, so that now when you tell the spectator to place the card back, they're going to be placing it back in the other half of the deck with the other colors. So as you can see, when the spectator places the card back, now that 7 of diamonds will be the only red card among all of these black cards, but the spectator is not going to be able to see this because all the cards are just facing down. So once I do this, I'm going to do the shuffling thing one more time, the exact same thing. So I'm going to take about a quarter, then I'm just going to go one by one, and I'm going to turn to the other spectator as I do this, and I say, so you can agree you didn't see the card, right? You have no idea what it could be. And then I can just start randomly shuffling the cards on top again like this. But once I'm in this position, I've basically just taken their selection and placed it somewhere near the top of the deck. And all I have to do now is just take the top card and give a double undercut like this, so that I double undercut that top card to the bottom. So now I have one black card on the bottom and then the other black cards on top, and their selection is somewhere near the top. So now this next part of the trick is where the second spectator actually gets to pull out the other spectator's card. So how you're going to be able to do this, it's actually very fun how it works. Since the other spectator isn't looking at what's happening, you can tell them to turn around for this part if you want, or you can tell them to watch. It really doesn't matter if they see what's happening or not. You just don't want them to see the faces of the cards. You only want the second spectator to see the faces, because the second spectator right now is sort of gonna act as a stooge. What that means is he's secretly going to be helping out in this trick, but you don't set it up beforehand, which is the really cool thing about it. So it's sort of like an instant stooge situation, because what's happening is when you spread out the cards, you're going to tell the spectator to pull out any card that just calls out to them, any specific card that they feel just stands out. To the spectator that actually selected the card, this can just mean, look, you're just going to go through the deck and pull out any card that just randomly calls out. Okay, that's totally cool. But to this spectator, it's going to have a completely different meaning, because look what they're going to see. When I spread out the cards, I'm just going to be showing them this. They're just going to see a sea of black cards, and then boom, it's totally standing out as clear as day, the only red card in the entire deck, essentially. So this is what this spectator is going to see. This spectator just thinks I'm spreading out a bunch of shuffled cards and they're just pulling out a random one, but this spectator clearly knows which card he needs to pull out. And I use my words to make sure that he understands. I can also wink at him too if he doesn't understand, but I tell him just any card that calls out to you in any way, and he'll kind of smile and be like, okay, interesting. So now he knows which card to pull out because it's so obvious which one he needs to do. So he's going to pull out this card over here, but he's going to keep it to himself. And now what you're going to do is square up the cards. Then you're going to turn over to this spectator and say, so remember, we took the deck, we gave it a shuffle, I had you select any card, you put it back in the deck, we gave it another shuffle, and now you're just going to be shuffling the cards. So now you're just going to destroy your setup. So now your deck looks like a normal shuffled deck, which to both spectators, it honestly seemed like it was a totally shuffled deck the entire time. It's just that this spectator saw a bunch of black cards, and now they knew that this card had to be pulled out. But if you shuffle the cards after, it doesn't really matter because the trick is over at this point. Like, the card is already found, so the deck doesn't really matter anymore. So you can shuffle the cards, which will destroy the evidence of the setup, and then you tell the spectator, isn't it amazing that he actually found the card that you had selected? And yeah, that is the trick right there. So I really, really love this trick. It's such a cool idea and a cool principle. Some people might find this trick a little bit odd though, because usually if you're performing to multiple spectators, the idea is to fool everyone, right? Like, the idea is to impress everyone. And in this case, one spectator is going to be more impressed than the other spectator, because for this trick, the spectator that selected the card is going to be more impressed that this spectator found the card. The spectator that pulled the card out is not going to be as impressed because he was sort of in on the trick, but that doesn't necessarily mean like it's a bad thing. Spectators actually really like it when they sort of get in on the trick. So this is actually a really great trick because it fools one person really hard, but it also gets the other spectator involved in the trick, and it actually makes them an instant stooge, and they will actually really enjoy this. So overall, this just makes for a great time. It's up to the couple afterwards to tell each other what happened or not. So it's just a great trick to do, and it just leaves everyone super happy. That is the Valentine's Day card trick for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and see you guys next time. Bye.